Before the break, we told you about President Obama's speech to the nation's school children next week. And some Republicans say it's not a speech, but a sermon designed to sell his political agenda, though they haven't actually seen or heard the text of the speech. Let's get back to our discussion about the controversy with Jim Greer, chairman of the Republican Party of Florida, and political analyst Roland Martin.
Any attempt to roll back the accountability in Washington, D.C. I'll fight any attempt to do that. Just not going to let it happen. Any attempt to roll back the accountability in Washington, D.C. I'll fight any attempt to do that. Just not going to let it happen.
So that's in front of the kids. Did you object to that at the time, Mr. Greer?
Well, I will tell you, I think that question was a response of accountability of the educational system. I don't think whether it's a Democrat
but he's talking about a policy. All your problem with Obama, with the president, is him talking about his policies in front of kids, which he's apparently not even going to do, and nor did he intend to do.
Well, Anderson, as you said to me that I may not know the facts, how do you know that he didn't intend to do that?
Right, but I'm not the. But right, I don't know what he intended, but I'm also not making accusations based on what I think he intended. You were making accusations based on no knowledge on what you think he's going to say without any facts to back it up. Did you object to when President Bush was speaking about a policy, No Child Left Behind, to school kids? I'm guessing you didn't.
President Bush didn't send out lesson plans preempting the speech to talk about how the students should do that. No, let me tell you, Roland, you have made this a partisan issue. This is a parent governing issue. Parents have a right to decide what their children are exposed to in school. I went to an open house of one of my kids.
So you don't want them exposed to the President of the United States?
No, that's not true. I have no objection to the President of the United States talking to students on the first day of school about staying in school and education. I do object to a lesson plan that's sent around to every teacher in the country that leads the children in a direction such as write a letter to the President about how you can help him.
Regardless of what the President was going to talk about or not, what the Department of Education did was clearly kind of heavy-handed or ham-fisted, and the White House has even said that by the fact that they've rewritten the language now.
Oh, right, and look, they rewritten the language. They could have gone without that, but they chose to do so. Okay, so you know what? If you want to tell kids, first of all, I have a problem telling kids to write the president when you have kids in the United States today who are frankly illiterate when it comes to civics, who know nothing about politics. I have no issue with that. But the reason this is, it has grown to what it is because you have people with an ideology who are driving the agenda. Jim couldn't even have the decency to answer your question. He had no problem with Bush making a statement about his policies because he supports it. And Anderson, I'll ask Jim this question again. Is he willing to fight every time any politician, local school board, judge, state representative, city councilman, governor, any politician in the state of Florida goes to any school, are you going to tell parents you should be willing to opt your kids out of that classroom? Are you going to do that, Jim?
Roland, I'll tell you this. Any politician that sends out a lesson plan before they arrive at the school... No, you see, you're not... Wait a minute. That's where the problem is. Any politician that sends a lesson plan out to the teachers, instructing them how they should lead the students in a direction of conversation, and I don't know what the politician's going to say, particularly when they're very energized...
So, Jim, why didn't you then make a statement saying about these lesson plans and say, you know, it's great the president's going to go to schools and talk. Not sure what he's going to say. He's the president of the United States. It's great that he's going to do it. I think these lesson plans stink. I think it sounds cultish, cult of personality, and it's a bad idea. That's not what you said.
You criticized the speech, Jim.
Let me tell you, when the president and these lesson plans talk about new ideas are what the vision of the president's future is of this country. Health care run by government, auto industry run by government.
You're dancing.
I'm not dancing. I'm telling a fact. And before anyone exposes my children to their vision of America, I want to say yes and give my consent. This is a parent issue. This is not a political issue. You're trying to make it a political issue. But before any politicians, Barack Obama included, talks to my children about public policy, I want to be able to say yes or no.
And you're not going to be able to say yes or no. If Governor Charlie Crist went to schools in Florida, Jim, you are not going to protest anything he says, and you know it because he's a Republican. So go ahead and admit it.
Well, first of all, Charlie Crist is a great leader and is always working hard for the people of Florida.
Yeah, but you're not going to
in this case, we're not talking about Charlie Crist.
By the way, Jim, I wouldn't use the term term great leader, given that you're basically accusing Obama of being sort of cult of personality. But we're going to have to leave it there. We'll let viewers make up their own mind. Jim Greer, appreciate your time and being on the program, and Roland Martin as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Anderson.
Congressman Mike Pence of Indiana. Listen to this response as a panicked audience member in another members-only town hall. Anderson, Indiana, claims that health care reform will guarantee a better health care plan for members of Congress and will thus, quoting her, set them up as a superior race.
And the rest of us, that sets them up as a superior race. They are better than we are. And you know who came up with the terminology of the superior race. It sounds a bit like this.
Who came up with the terminology of the superior race? Lady, you did. You just said that Congress would be a superior race. The reformers didn't say that. The president didn't say that. You did. And by the way, what do we have now? We have one group of people who are insured, who maybe can afford doctors who don't take insurance, who survive more often than everybody else. And Congressman Pence, when a woman introduces Adolf Hitler into a conversation about improving this maze in a minefield of a healthcare system we have now, you're supposed to remind her that such comparisons are offensive, and she is demeaning herself and demeaning the memory of everybody who died because of the real Hitler. But you said, and I quote, "Thank you."
Obama-san, you must focus and train hard to win on healthcare. Oh, Mr. Miyagi, there you go again. I mean, everybody needs healthcare. Seriously, who on earth would want to stop healthcare reform? Friends, truth does not exist in this dojo, does it?
No, Sensei!
Compassion does not exist in this dojo, does it?
No, Sensei!
Actual constructive solutions do not exist in this dojo, do they?
No, Sensei!
And what do we study here?
The way of the Republicans, sir!
And what is that way?
Lie first, lie hard, obstruct always, sir!
I can't hear you!
Lie first, lie hard, obstruct always, sir!
Healthcare reform fighting positions! Hey, Senator Dement!
If we're able to stop Obama on this, it will be his Waterloo! It will break him!
Yes, Bill Kristol!
Kill it! Drive a stake through its heart!
Yes, Representative Bachmann!
The taxpayer-subsidized plan will be 30–40% cheaper!
But stop! Don't tell people that!
Whoops. What I meant to say was, get healthcare reform